Sugar stocks, they were in a sweet spot yesterday. And a media report suggests that there will be an additional 1 million ton sugar exports if output meets estimates. To discuss more on that and the likely development and how is demand environment, we'll be joined by Mr. Vijay Banka, the MD at Dwarikesh Sugar Industries, as well as Sanjay Manyal, the research analyst at ICICI Securities, who joins us. Good morning, gentlemen. Thanks so much for joining in. Well, Mr. Banka, let's start off with you first. Have you heard anything about this additional exports that are likely to come on stream, this 1 million tons that's being reported? Have you heard something?
It might happen towards the end of the month after government takes stock of the production trends. Basis whatever they have done, whatever estimates they have drawn, they think the production is going to be about 33.6 million tons. They recalibrated the opening stock numbers from 5.5 million to 7 million tons. So there is a clear possibility of they are allowing 1 million tons of export. Let's wait and see because the government will be very keenly watching the production trends.
So, Mr. Banka, you believe there's a high likelihood then that this could happen by the end of this month once government takes stock?
Well, it's been amply demonstrated that, even if you carry 5 to 6 million tons of sugar stock, closing stock, there are no runaway inflation insofar as sugar pricing is concerned. In fact, sugar prices have remained flattish at around 3,500 for most part of the last year.
Okay, I'm going to go to Sanjay as well to find out what the impact would be if this additional export quota is approved or allotted. But Mr. Banka, first, I also want to ask you about this whole ethanol story, because the sugar diversion to ethanol has seen almost a 30% growth compared to what we've seen last year. So that's the big focus area even for the government now. How much more sugar would you be diverting to ethanol in the next, say, 1 year or so? And what is the scope for you?
Well, both our distillery plants are operational at full capacity. So we produce about 335 kiloliters of ethanol every day. And going forward, we will be able to produce and sell about 11 crore liters of ethanol to the oil marketing companies. Well, all this production is going to happen at by sacrificing sugar production. So we'll be able to cut down our sugar production by almost 30%. We have touched our historical high sugar production of about 45 lakh quintals. So we should be down to about 30 to 33 lakh quintals the coming year.
Got that. So what would this mean for your distillery business itself? I mean, you've seen a good growth, over a 60% growth as per the last, the last results that you posted. What is the expectation in FY24?
Well, see, the top line doesn't grow big time in while diverting sugar for ethanol purposes. But what happens is the sales mix undergoes a change, and the bottom line, it helps the bottom line primarily.
Ethanol ends up being a good proposition for most companies. Mr. Banka, stay on. Sanjay Manyal is also with us. And Sanjay, by the way, has a buy call on a whole host of sugar stocks, from Balrampur and Chini to Dalmia, Bharat, Triveni, Dhampur, Dwarikesh, a lot of companies on your buy list, Sanjay. So let's go back to the main headline story about this, export quota being opened up. If that does happen, how much of a kicker, if at all, can it offer to prices?
Thanks for inviting me. What my understanding is that if we see the initial opening stock on the sugar side, somewhere around 5.5 million was the number at the start of the year, and the initial production estimate was somewhere around 36 million ton. Now from 36 million ton, this has been revised downwards to 33.5, and there is probably a likely possibility that it could be even further lower. Though the government has revised this inventory levels to 7 million ton, I strongly believe that there is a very rare possibility of allowance of export, in next 1 or 2 months, as it has been mentioned in the press release by the government. Given the fact that there is a very likely possibility that sugar production could be even lower from here, from 33.5, maybe it could be 33 also. And in fact, there is a very good possibility that domestic sugar prices could move up, given the fact that the inventory levels are still at a lower end. In the past, what we believe.
Sanjay, I was just coming to that, Sanjay. Take your caution on board. I mean, obviously, if there's going to be a shortage domestically, is it really realistic to expect the government to open up a huge export window? I mean, that's pretty obvious. So completely take your caution on board. But I think from, the market perspective and the company's perspective, as long as prices remain elevated, be it in the international markets or Indian markets, I think that helps. So if you could elaborate on the pricing point, are you expecting domestic prices to move higher? If yes, how much?
So my understanding is, though up till now domestic prices have not moved up, but I think many sugar mills have been continuing the crushing operation as of now, and probably once the mills in Maharashtra and Karnataka close operation, probably there is a possibility of domestic prices going up. We also have heard in the units, a lot of units in Maharashtra and Karnataka will be closing down very early this year. Last year, if you remember, the crushing, I think, continued till June as well, whereas most of the mills will close down by March and in Maharashtra and Karnataka. And that probably would lead to the higher domestic prices from the time the crushing stops, specifically in these two states.
Got it. All right. Coming back to Mr. Banka then. Mr. Banka, the exports were around 4.3 lakh quintals in Q3, I think so. What's the quantum of exports you're looking at? Point number one. And also, I think you all were rallying for an ethanol price revision. What's the quantum you're looking at out there?
See, exports, I think whatever 6 million tons the government has announced, I think contracts have been entered into for that quantity. So we expect the full quantity to be exported out. Well, as Sanjay mentioned, the most important point now is the pricing in the domestic market. International prices are at an all-time high. Domestic prices have remained kind of insulated from the international trends. But as we go forward, we will see many sugar mills in Maharashtra have already closed down, and in Karnataka also many have closed down. So we should see a revival and spurt in the sugar prices. You asked about how much. I think 200 rupees per quintal price rise is quite reasonable, according to me, in the immediate term. So it should happen, and it will not in any kind, it will not in any way, set alarms ringing or anything like that, because if you go back to 2016-17, sugar was sold at 3,600, 3,700 rupees a quintal. Now, coming back to your second question on the pricing of the ethanol made from juice. Pricing of ethanol from juice, we have made submissions to the government. That is one area, because most sacrifice of sugar production in the coming days will happen only if the pricing of if the juice is used as a feedstock for making ethanol. So presently, the price is around 65 rupees a liter. So we have pitched for an increase in the price of juice, ethanol made from juice, because that's where the most sacrifice is going to come. And if that happens, we will see a very balanced kind of situation emerging, sugar production more or less equal to consumption, and whatever little quantity of export quantities available for export that can be easily exported.
Got it. All right. Thanks so much, gentlemen, Mr. Banka, as well as Sanjay, for joining in and giving us your views on the sugar space as well as on the ethanol space. Appreciate your thoughts. By the way, just focusing on the index, just pull up on the Nifty. We have just broken the 20-day MA. We are trading 15 points below that level, so just keep an eye out on that front. The Nifty Bank is the one that's taking a harder knock. As we pointed out earlier today, the Nifty IT index could have done a relative outperformance. It did that for the first 30-40 minutes or so, but that as well is moving a little bit lower as we speak, so just keep an eye out on that front.
Also, now there's a turn in the Adani Group stocks once again, so Adani Enterprises, Adani Ports, big losses over there, down almost about 1 to 3% odd. Just pull up those stocks. Most of them have moved to the low point of trade. So it looks like the volatility in the Adani Group stocks is not over just yet. Reliance also dragging its feet quite a bit, batting for the bears this morning, and that's dragging the Nifty overall. In fact, we'll ask Mitesh Thakkar these questions on the other side of the break. Do stay tuned in.